Good morning, my brothers and sisters. We're going to learn about the not-so-secret things of God today. We're going to be looking in Deuteronomy 29. There's going to be a faithful, reliable, promise-remembering, covenant-keeping God, just like always. And perhaps we should be responding to him favorably. Today's going to talk about, first it's going to talk about what happens if you don't. This is from Deuteronomy chapter 29. I'm going to start in verse 16. You know how we lived in the land of Egypt and how we came through the midst of nations through which you passed. And you've seen their detestable things, their idols of wood and stone, of silver and gold, which were among them. Beware, lest there be among you a man or woman or tribe or clan whose heart is turning away from the Lord your God, to go and serve the gods of those nations, small g, gods of those nations. Beware, lest there be among you a root bearing poisonous and bitter fruit, one who, when he hears the words of the sworn covenant, blesses himself in his heart, saying, I shall be safe, though I walk in the stubbornness of my heart. So there's a warning here. Don't walk in the stubbornness of your heart. Don't turn away from the Lord your God to serve and worship and yield to or admire anyone else but him. Don't bear this poisonous fruit. And don't be the guy who says, he blesses himself in his heart saying, I shall be safe even though I walk in the stubbornness of my heart. So don't bless your self-assess yourself, bless yourself in your heart saying, I'm safe even though I'm stubborn, I'm doing okay. So don't let there be a disconnect here of my actions and their natural effects. So this is an incongruous, inconsistent, even absurd analysis that this person does. Why? Well, because there's going to be consequences you don't desire if you walk down this path. Let me continue in verse 19. This will lead to sweeping away of moist and dry alike. The Lord will not be willing to forgive him, but rather the anger of the Lord and his jealousy will smoke against that man. And the curses written in this book will settle upon him, and the Lord will blot out his name from under heaven. And the Lord will single him out from all the tribes of Israel for calamity, in accordance with all the curses of the covenant written in this book of the law. And no surprise, it's all written here. Verse 22. And the next generation, your children who rise up after you, and the foreigner who comes from a far land will say, when they see the afflictions of the land and the sickness with which the Lord has made it sick, the whole land burned out with brimstone and salt, nothing sown, nothing grown, no plant can sprout, an overthrow like that of Sodom and Gomorrah, which the Lord overthrew in his anger and wrath. All the nations will say, why has the Lord done this to this land? What has caused the heat of his great anger? Then the people will say, it is because they abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of Egypt, and went and served other gods and worshipped other gods they had not known and whom he had not allotted to them. Therefore, the anger of the Lord was kindled against this land, bringing it upon it all the curses written in the book. And the Lord uprooted them from their land in their anger and fury and great wrath, and cast them to another land, as they are to this day. So don't be surprised here. Because you abandoned the covenant of the Lord, there are natural, expected, predicted, previously known consequences. You're going to be swept away, and the anger of the Lord will smoke against you, which is an incredibly fearful thing to say. So all these curses that are predicted here, consequences, calamity, afflictions of you and the land are coming through true, so much so that another generation, when they show up, or the foreigner walks in, they said, hey, there's nothing sown, nothing growing, this land is overthrown, and they can attribute it rightly to the righteous anger and wrath of the Lord. Why? Well, because these people abandoned the covenant. We have a covenant-keeping God who wants us to be in covenant with him, and people say, no, I don't want to be in covenant, so there's natural consequences. So it's no surprise that the Lord's anger was kindled against a people like this. Don't be surprised that they're uprooted and cast into another land. So teaching point here for all of us is don't be the generation of your family to abandon the Lord. Don't be surprised at the natural and spiritual effects of that betraying God has. And it's probably good to stay close to God, follow his ways, follow his words. Probably good to plant yourself in the bosom of the Lord and in which is to say, into the bosom of his people. All right, one final line here, verse 29. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things that are revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. So it talks about the secret things of God. Now, there is enough revelation of God for faith, practice, and conduct, and right thinking. He has given us enough for everything that we need here on this planet. What has been revealed, it's not too hard, it's not too far, and it's not undoable. We'll talk about that probably tomorrow. However, not everything true of God has been revealed to date. The ESV notes have that great line. So there's more revelation to come, if you can believe it. So we're going to be in heaven 10,000 years, appreciating the depth and scope of him. And every day of that, and for the days following that 10,000 years, I think the appreciation is going to be fresh, not rote, not stale in any way. So you may say, hey, I want more revelation. I want a special revelation now. If I just had more, then I'd believe, then I'd obey, then I'd think rightly. Well, just time out on that for a second. It's better to say, Lord, you've given me enough to see, enough to consider, enough to obey, and enough even to be judged upon. So maybe I can do a better job with a revelation that I already have in my lap. So if you ponder even just this passage that we went over today, there's something here for your faith, something for your practice, something for your conduct. And this is what we do every day in Be With Me. We take basically a paragraph or so of the Bible, and there's enough in that single paragraph to change the world, specifically change my world. So we want, and kind of always grasping for the secret things, the special revelation, a new word where God cries out, basically, you've got enough. You have everything you need. The Lord is saying, I have given you everything you need. Now, go and do it. Thanks for listening.